Welcome back and thank you for joining us once again. I have a very special guest with me today. I want to introduce Rob Soucek of Farmers Insurance. Thank you so much for joining us today. Rob is a fantastic commercial insurance guy. He owns his own office here in the Front Range region. And so I just want to start out by asking, what is the importance of knowing your broker when setting up a commercial insurance policy, whether it's for a new business or whether it's an existing business, purchasing real estate or purchasing equipment? What is the difference between knowing a broker rather than just calling, 1-800 commercial insurance and going with, whoever can throw you a quote the fastest?
Well, that's a great question. And honestly, the most important thing that you're doing is starting your business to build a legacy for your family. Having an agent that actually comes and learns your business, learns why you do what you do, helps you find all the things that could go wrong that you need to be protected for, is hugely important, instead of just going online and clicking a little form and hoping that you get the coverage that you need. So having someone that actually comes and knows your business is probably the most important part of getting insurance for your business.
Very cool. Now, talk a little bit about the importance of knowing the policy that you're actually putting together, whether it's the premiums, whether it's deductibles, and the actual nitty-gritty portion of what covers what in what event. What is the importance of actually knowing the type of policy and having a broker like yourself explain each individual part and what it actually does for you?
Yeah, and that's a great question too, because there are so many different kinds of policies. So you've got to kind of look at your risk versus your what you can afford to pay out yourself. So some people only need the building covered. If they're going to rent it out and have somebody build out an office in there, then maybe you don't need all the extra coverages inside the building. If you're renting out a building for your own business, then you're going to need totally different coverage than if you own the building. So there's a lot of different things that you can add on, take off to make the policy custom to you and very specific to what you need, so you're not paying for things that you don't need, or you're not shorting yourself in case something goes wrong and you're not covered for that kind of thing.
Of course.
So yeah, it's really important to for the person to know your business and know what your goals are with the building or the business, so that it can be covered properly.
Awesome. Now, what are the most common do's and don'ts that you see? People come to you, start asking you questions that may not necessarily be setting them up for success, or they have, a preconceived notion about one thing. You can talk to us about what are the do's and don'ts about setting up a policy?
Okay. There's a few people that you need to be perfectly honest with in life, and your insurance agent is one of them, because we set up the policy for you, and things like audits will happen. So the underwriters will kind of double check our work and make sure that we're being honest and that we're not missing anything like that. So letting the agent know how much your business is worth, so we know how much liability coverage to put for you. So, and your gross revenue is hugely important, because that drives a lot of the premium cost. But if you're not honest about that and it gets audited, you get a big bill that's due right away.
That's not anything anybody wants.
No. So everybody talks about their work comp audits and how frustrating they can be. There's ways that you can go about making sure that those are really done smoothly, and it's just all the work up front that the agent will do for you.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yep.
So kind of the last and final question for you is, what is the difference in policies, whether it's a business that has a fleet of vehicles and they're purchasing real estate, compared to home, the typical home and auto that everybody has? Tell us a little bit more about kind of the difference in policies specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I love commercial insurance so much, is because there's so many more moving parts, right? So for businesses, you can have a master policy. We call that a BOP, which is a business owner's policy, and that can incorporate just about everything outside of work comp. So it has your general liability, your slip and fall, to building coverage, to everything inside the business, even business interruption insurance. So if something happens where you can't work out of your office, how are you going to pay your employees? That's something that's really important. A lot of companies don't offer that. There's also really important coverages that are like cyber liability coverage. So if you're hacked and you lose people's personal information, make sure that you're protected in those situations.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. A lot of fantastic information. If you're a business owner or thinking about being a business owner, you need to have your commercial insurance guy in your back pocket, because you don't want anything happening that isn't foreseen and you aren't set up with the right policy or with the right person.
Yeah, we want you to be able to spend time with your family and not be worrying about those things. That's my job.
I love it. Thank you so much for listening in. We'll see you next time.